Hello, welcome. I'm Deb Shepherd. Namaste. I'm sure it's taking people a little minute or two to kind of join us on this class today that we're going to talk about the spring equinox, which is pretty powerful and something that you can utilize to really manifest and change so many things in your life. So, as you come on, we'll really get into this topic, but we want to welcome everyone to begin with. And Dana, you will see her. She is my partner, my wife, and she's going to manage everything. So if you text something or put something in the chat or have a question, she's going to be there to help manage that and let me know that you have questions during this next hour. But I want to tell everyone I'm honored and grateful that you're here to join us on a Monday. And we want to remind everyone that tomorrow at 6 p.m., which is Colorado time, and it's going to be different, I know, in different parts of the world, that the spring equinox is taking place, which is an extremely powerful time and something that our ancestors did throughout centuries to use that energy and vibration to be able to manifest and change, because we know how the winter can affect so many of us. But how do we then change our energy, change what we want to create, and start something new? It's a time to plant, it's a time to see things grow, it's a time for our vibration and things to shift. And that's what we want to talk about. So we're going to let a few more individuals come on because I know everyone is not going to be right on time. They have a life and they're busy. But as people come on, we want to say hello to a few. There's Dana.
Hi, you guys, do you want to do some shout outs real quick?
Absolutely. I can't read that, so you're going to have to read it for me.
The tiny.
No, I have glasses on doesn't mean I can see on my screen.
Yeah, so some of the names aren't popping through because you actually have to, I think, enter your name. We're on StreamYard today, so we're streaming to several different platforms using this awesome tool. So if you enter your name in when you log in, we can actually see who you are. But lots of people jumping on. The first one that pops up is our one of your students, our friend Deb Bulk Sarno. She said, "Namaste."
Namaste.
Right.
A few names: Deb Cross, Gina. Yeah, I can read a few.
So yeah, let us know where you're from. We have Corrine, who's on YouTube, joining from Arizona.
Yay, one of our places we go to a couple times a year. And, technology just still blows my mind. I think about how things have changed when I was growing up. I mean, it certainly ages me. And a few people that might be on here remember technology is certainly our friend, even though it's a challenge to get used to it. But how amazing that things have changed, that we can connect all over the world and sit in your own living room in your pajamas or sweats or a robe or whatever and connect and that is just fabulous. It's just amazing. But technology is sometimes a challenge. I always say it's easier to talk to people who've crossed over than for me to work with technology. But what I do know is that most people know me from connecting with your loved ones, connecting with your guides, helping you, heal, have those messages from your loved ones that you are missing or grieving or have things that are, where you don't have closure. But one of my passions, if you're not familiar with this, is teaching, watching individuals heal and take their power and manifest and shift their lives is truly so close to my heart, which is why I love doing these things and, giving to the audience or anyone that's interested about how can we shift the way our life is going or the direction and heal things to move us forward. I just see lots of people still coming on. So I'm going to give it another minute here. So if this is your first time, coming on to work with me, thank you so much. We will probably answer a few questions, and it's not about mediumship, psychic readings, but a little bit psychic. But it's more about why are we doing this class during spring equinox, and what is the value, importance of this period of time? And sometimes we don't know the power of the universe. We don't realize that we have some energy that will help us change our lives. And if we utilize that energy, the momentum is pretty powerful. And I've been very much in gratitude seeing how these things change, not only for my life, but for the people that I've worked with. So this is, something that might be new to you. It may be something you've studied, or you've watched like the studied the law of attraction, The Secret, and thought, okay, how come this isn't working for me? And when we find certain things in avenues that pull it all together, that's the power behind it. But when we use the universe as basically that huge support system, that energy is more magical than ever. So, anyone that you want to shout out to, Dana? Are we doing okay?
We're good. If you want to get rolling, I think we'll just
Get going. Okay, fine with me. So, the winter, part of the winter is really fabulous. I mean, we get to hibernate. I mean, there's some holidays in there. We get to see family, maybe, perhaps. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not. But there is part of that winter time where we just sort of shut down for a while. And if we look at Mother Earth, it does the same thing. It just shuts down and says, we all need to heal. We all need to, recuperate. We need to just fill our vessel again. But when spring comes, that's an exciting time because we start seeing, the leaves come out, the bulbs begin to bloom, all these different things that we see. And that's the same with us because we are ready to take on life again. We're ready to go out there and make changes and do things that maybe we've been thinking about during those winter months. The beauty of the spring equinox, there's a lot of things. One of them is on that day, it is one of the only days in the year that is actually divided between light and dark. There are the exact amount of hours in the day in the light as there is at dark at night. And we all are looking for balance. One thing I hear constantly is, I want to have a balanced life. I want to be able to balance my work and my family and my joy. And I want to be able to, embrace hobbies or things that I've been wanting to try. I want to find that joy and dig into things that maybe will really help me heal, or find things that I didn't realize I would love to do. And so even as kids, if you are around children, they always want it to be even. They want it to be fair. They want it to be exactly the same for each individual. That's what happens when it comes to the spring equinox. It is showing us about the balance. And what I find so many times when we're unable to manifest or find certain things is because we are not balanced. We give way too much, or people are taking too much, and we feel just depleted in so many ways. And so we find a struggle in trying to create that balance. And so that day is really showing us how to create that. And even though the sun is maybe not out as much as we want, or, we're not able to rest as much, it is helping us understand how to create balance. And that's what part of this day is all about. Sometimes I think people are feeling frustrated. How does the universe help us? How does this day, or how does this energy really affect us? Well, we just can go into even solar energy. If we look at solar energy, energy that we do not see but provides us a resource. So we may not see that, our electricity is working through our house, but we turn our lights on, we turn our computers on, we turn on so many things to be able to use electricity. The power of the universe is what created our planet to be able to be in this divine space for life, for us to live and breathe. How powerful is that? When we're able to grab some of that energy, that when when our planet is aligned in a perfect place, we're able to attract that vibration, that energy, to empower and change our lives for the better. So it's not just our energy, but it's the universe's energy that's backing us up. And you may think, this doesn't make any sense, but it's having an experience that you can understand and change it, is utilizing everything you have to do that. And part of this confusion is shifting things. So what I find too is individuals may say, I don't know what I want. I feel frustrated. I've tried different things and it hasn't worked. I'm not sure if it's a job change. I'm not sure if it's a relationship change, or I don't have a relationship. There are so many different things that sometimes we get confused of what to manifest or what to put out to the universe to understand what can come back and what can return to us. So it is getting the clarity. What I also see is, how do we stay motivated? How do we get motivated to be able to make these changes? Well, the universe has a plan. It's there to help us every step of the way. It's about, first of all, just planting those seeds And this happens this time of year. So spring equinox is all about planting some seeds. And it could be, I just want to find more balance, or I want to find more joy. I want to laugh more. I want to find a community that supports the things I believe. I want to have people that don't judge me. All these things start coming about to look at you're planting seeds to be able to shift and change through this season so that you understand that you're planting these seeds, you're watching them grow, you're nurturing them, and you're giving them the energy that you need along with the universe. Because you know, without a doubt, you can plant real seeds, but if there's no sun, there's no water, there's no cultivating this, it's not going to grow. So this is doing the same thing for you. It's bringing in all these energies to help you cultivate something new in your life. Sometimes we get into fear. We think, I'm not sure where I'm going to go. I'm not sure what I can do. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. So we stay in our comfort zone. We stay in this comfort zone of maybe I'm in pain. It doesn't feel right. My boss doesn't see my value. My partner is not supportive. They're very judgmental. I feel like my health is deteriorating. I don't have the time to take care of myself. I'm always on the go. People are very needy around me, but it's familiar and we may stay in that versus trying to make changes, the fear of changing a job or our outlook on our job or finding our value in other ways other than maybe our career or certain individuals. And that's hard because shifting it means how do we shift the way we see our life? Big piece of this is getting rid of the clutter, how our minds think, all the clutter. If you think about planting a seed, you sort of have to clean the ground. You have to cultivate and change where you plant your seeds. So if there's trash on it and there's, not a good place where you can, go and look at the seeds growing or you can water it, or there's, just ick around. I keep thinking of just this pile of ick that's on this dirt that you have to remove to get started because the sun needs these plants, these seeds need the sun in order for it to be nurtured, for it to grow. And that's the same with your soul. And it's healing on so many different levels. And so part of that is learning not to abandon yourself. And then when I was writing some of these notes, I have pages of notes I want to share. I'm a little bit like, where do I go? Where do I start with this? What I find in some of the programs that I teach is we've abandoned ourselves a long time ago, and we kept being of service to other people. And whether this is family obligations, which a lot of us have, or guilt and shame for certain things, or never feeling like we're enough, those things keep us from really giving our energy to us, to ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to let ourselves grow, let ourselves be able to go as far as we can go, to go beyond our own limitations. I remember looking back, this is a little over 20 years ago, probably about 24 years ago. My life wasn't going well. And I was desperate to find some sort of change. And I just wanted something different because I couldn't figure out why was my life the way it was. And part of it was there's financial struggles. There's just those things that us humans experience over and over. And through that, I learned some things and I was willing to try to do something different because my life wasn't where I wanted it to be. But at the same time, I kept thinking, well, maybe I'm not supposed to have certain things. I'm not supposed to be happy. I'm not supposed to, have financial security. I'm not supposed to have a really healthy relationship. All these things, that happens for other people. But I kept thinking, that's not for me. That's not how I was taught. That's not what I believed. I believe, you're of service and it should be hard. And, money doesn't grow on trees and all the things that were taught at that generation. But as I began to shift and change that consciousness and reframed what I was believing, that's when my life began to change. And sometimes it seems simple, but I was working really hard and I was trying really hard and things weren't shifting. So when I think about this time of year, the spring equinox, I wish I would have known the power behind this vibration of energy that would have taken me even further at that time, but I can use it now. And even though our lives can be in a good place, maybe we can do more. Maybe we can do more for our community. Maybe we can learn more. Maybe we can expand who we are on so many different levels. Our brain and our souls have so much capability to go further than we are now. I do believe in reincarnation, and whether you do or not, take what resonates with you here. But I believe we're here to grow and learn. And we don't do that staying confined in a limited box that says we have to do it this way or it has to look that way. And one of the things that I wrote down today is so many times we don't want to be different. We want to be included. We want to be like others. We want to be popular or liked. And our true abilities, our true, as we say, gifts, if you want to call it that, something I don't like to use, but being different is your superpower. And if we try to please everybody and we try to fit into this box that isn't designed for ourselves, we're using someone else's design for our life, we'll never know really truly what we're capable of doing, where our superpower is, what we're able to do for not only our lives, but the lives that we touch and the people that are in our world. And when we're able to start saying, I'm not sure what's going to grow or what's going to change, but leaning into it without the fear, but the capability of saying, I'm designed to be different, to do this. And we're not going to find that superpower. We're not going to find how we're designed. If we try to stay similar like everybody else. If we try to match what someone else does. And that's where I was. I kept thinking, if I do what they're doing, will I have the same luck or will I have the same outcome? And what I realized is my path was different than my family, the people in my community, the people that I knew at that time. So I had to step out of something that I knew that was familiar to get unfamiliar with what I was able to do. And I think when we are able to honor our differences of who we are, that we're not like everybody else, that's when we can really bloom. So if you're looking at this period of time to plant those seeds, are you planting seeds to be curious? Are you planting those seeds to have a whole different perspective from what you know? Are you willing to grow something that is unique and different based on what you came to do in this lifetime? It's to honor your soul. Our minds and our hearts, if they're not aligned, we can't trust our intuition. I hear often, I want to trust my intuition. I want to listen to it. But when they're conflicting all the time and we're in fear and we're not willing to be different, it's really hard to learn to grow because we keep shrinking who we are. We look for that approval. We go outside of ourselves to say, what do you think versus what do I think? And when we continue to abandon ourselves over time and feel like we need to be people pleasers or become martyrs or become, this is what I do for everybody else, and we sacrifice ourselves, we're unable to really listen to our intuition. We're unable to follow the heart and what we want to do. Often I'm hearing, I don't know. I don't know how to figure out what I want to do. I hear often, I'm not motivated. I'm exhausted. I've been burning the candles at both ends. I just want to go to bed and put, the blankets over my head because I'm so tired. And we really are looking for that key, that opportunity to say, I want to open the door and see what's out there, but we don't have any energy for it. So I do believe we take these little baby steps to get to that place. So first of all, think about, what would you plant if you were, wanting to create a garden for your soul, and the spring equinox is there and said, this is the perfect time. You're going to have the most beautiful garden you've ever seen. And things are going to grow that, don't usually grow in your area. And it needs nurturing, but you don't have to be exhausted taking care of it. What would you plant? What is it that you would plant for your soul? for your heart? Would it be finding balance? Would it be finding joy? Would it be finding a community? I'm just exhausted. We have so many fears. If you think about planting a seed, if you planted it with fear and constantly worried if it was going to grow, do you think it would really grow? Let's say you planted something that you wanted. I love corn, so let's plant corn, or plant a sunflower. I love sunflowers. If you wanted to plant tomatoes, if you wanted to plant carrots, if you wanted to plant whatever it would be, you'd want to plant it with love, and you'd want to plant it for success, and you wanted to be proud of what you planted, and you want other people to see it. But we don't do that for ourselves. We don't do that for our heart and our soul. We're fear-based. We're in fear of what others will think, and we're not willing to see our value. We may talk about how much we do and how much we give, and all those type of things, but it's very difficult for us to receive things in return. During some of my workshops that are in person, I do an exercise where you get to talk about yourself for 2 minutes uninterrupted, about the things that you love about yourself. And for students that have done it before, and they know it's coming, I feel this anxiety coming on, like how hard and difficult it is. We are told not to have an ego, don't be narcissistic, don't talk about yourself. And so we try to play small. And when we do that, it takes away from our soul. It takes away from the good person that we are. It's almost like, trying to plant a seed that has been chopped up and it can't really be put together to grow something very powerful. So the goal here is start learning how to have self-love. People go, oh, I love myself. And I'm like, no, we don't. We truly are designed, especially women, to be judgmental of ourselves, to not think that we're good enough, we're not capable, or we give so much and still nothing in return. Part of maybe this spring equinox is, can you really truly self-love yourself? Can you reframe the negativity when you look in the mirror, or when you're trying on a swimsuit this time of year, doing things for yourself? There are so many times that we have worked really hard, and then we have some downtime, we have a vacation or a couple of days off, and we're like, oh, I really need this time off. I've worked so hard. We don't even give ourselves the capability of having a balanced life by saying, I just want to enjoy life, and I don't need to have a reason why I deserve this. We're in constant conflict of giving ourselves the ability to have self-love, to be able to say, I deserve to buy this, or take care of myself, or shut my phone down, turn my computer, not work, not take care of somebody else. We don't give ourselves permission for that. If the spring equinox is about just planting that seed to give yourself the opportunity to have a little bit more self-love than you do now, huge. This can alone, bloom and grow and give yourself the opportunity for that. When we're in a crossroads, it can be a challenge to know, what do you plant? What do you start doing? Where do you start growing? And part of that is just an idea, because ideas are what really change our life. Being creative. I talk about the left and right brain all the time in my classes, and part of that is our left brain wants to analyze everything. I call mine Larry, like, quiet down, Larry. That creative part is not being attached to the outcome. So many times we only do things if there's a result that we can be proud of. We want to have results. We want to be able to tell people or share or feel confident. If I put time and energy into this, I want to see those results. Sometimes it's just having a different experience. Sometimes it's just getting out of your head, being creative, finding some pleasure in life, having some experiences that are different than what you've been doing. So many times pleasure is met with guilt. I'm going to have this ice cream because I have been not eating any sugar for a week, so now I have permission, versus, why can't we just give ourselves permission to have pleasure? Why can't we just give ourselves permission to have joy? It is because it's wired in us with guilt and shame that this is how we were supposed to be, and we want to change that. Where did it begin in your life where you were told or thought or believed that sacrificing yourself or not having joy or being punished for whatever reason or taking care of yourself was wrong? When we're able to pedal back on that and look at that, we realize that we held on to something that created negativity in our life. And that's that box we put ourselves into. And it confines our ability to express our differences that are really powerful. Those are our superpowers. We began to take in all these other definitions of how we should be versus who we truly are, and we get lost. And the more years that go on, our soul and our heart and our passion and our joy gets lost because we have put all these other reasons from other people of how it should be. And we are here to break free of that. And that's what happens during the spring equinox. This time of year is when we see the bulb that pops through the dirt. It breaks free of Mother Earth to say, I'm going to show all my beauty to the world. I'm going to show you how I smell, how I look, my colors. And it doesn't matter what other flowers I'm next to. I'm going to show you my glory. But as a human, we don't do that. We either try to match ourselves to look like somebody else, or we play small, or we hide, or we do all these other things so we don't find who we are. And it doesn't matter what age you are. And when people start working with me in their 30s, I'm like, wow, isn't that really great? But it doesn't matter what age you are. I've been doing this work for over 2 decades, and the blessing of it is I keep growing and changing and learning because I'm giving myself permission to look at life differently and to go a little deeper and to dig in that dirt, to really get down to look at who I am and what I can do to change to be the person I am as I grow. And it's hard sometimes to identify who you are and show the world, and not always get the acceptance from other people that you love or want them to see you a particular way. But your superpower, the universe wants to see it. The universe is magical, and the universe has so much energy. Again, think about water and sun and how much energy we can get from that. We're able to propel our lives by utilizing that energy that can come to us. When we talk about energy, sometimes we get, what does that mean? I'm confused. What does that mean? How do thoughts, create? And part of this is looking at, like I said, electricity. We may not see electricity, but we know how it works by turning on a switch or plugging something in. We know that there's some sort of force or energy that makes something work that we need. And this is the same with us when we love somebody or we seriously dislike something, and how our energy feels when we meet somebody for the first time and go, wow, I feel like I know you. Dana gets that all the time. We were on vacation here recently, and this lady goes, I think I know you. And she gets it so often. There's this feeling of energy that you just know, that knowing. When your stomach feels something doesn't feel right, something's off, and then later on it gets validated. There's a knowing, there's an energy. We are told throughout to ignore that. Animals, especially kids, young children, their intuition, because they're not in a belief system that it's not real. We're told by society, by certain cultures, whether it's religion or financial situation or education, how you're supposed to be. So we begin to ignore all those things in us that we are wired to have. So when we begin to shift that and get out of that confined box, then our intuition begins to expand again. And that's your superpower. That's one of your superpowers. Your job and your superpower, your intuition, is to march to a different drum, to play different music, to feel differently than somebody else. And when we try to get approval from somebody by, hey, do you think this is right? their compass, their intuition is different for them than it is for you. So it's listening to you so you know without a doubt, and it will take away that fear so that you can trust and surrender. It's difficult to do. This is popping back into my mind, which is what I thought about earlier today. I did a class about a month ago with some of my students, and the topic was a lot of guilt and shame around their dogs, their animals when they were children or years ago, how they wish they would have done things differently. And I think we all have those times in our lives, and there's no one's unscathed with this that wish I would have done something differently. I wish I had this guilt that I'm carrying for so long. Wow, this is just every time I go there, I get emotional and it hurts. And even though I've done this work and I've done some deep work on my own stuff, I still can go back and I can feel the emotions of guilt and shame because we felt like we abandoned someone that depended on us, someone that deserved love. And we look at, especially dogs, they're so unconditional. They are giving everything they can no matter what we do. But we don't do that for ourselves. We don't unconditionally love ourselves. We are not there for ourselves the way we could be. We abandon ourselves in so many ways because there's a sense of being undeserving or what will people think. If you plant one seed tomorrow at the spring equinox, it might be that I don't abandon myself anymore. I start loving myself. I start taking myself as a priority. I start listening to my heart. I stop looking for the approval of others and I start approving of myself. To not have any regrets as we look at our life later on, whatever age that is when you decide or your soul decides that we're done on this planet, looking at our regrets, you could start tomorrow to start planting seeds that you're not going to have regrets about following your own spiritual path, your own soul's path, to truly look at what you can do to not feel that you abandon yourself. So if you think about the times in your life where you felt like you didn't show up for somebody or an animal or something that you care about, think about doing that to yourself. Is that a seed you want to plant? I'm going to be done abandoning and not loving myself to the fullest ability that I'm capable of. I think the other thing that's important, especially for women, and I will say this for men too, but I think for women, when you're able to not abandon yourself and you're able to truly love yourself, and I'm not talking about over the top ego or being a narcissist, this is all about balance. You actually can set the example to be the ripple effect for the people around you. So whether it's daughters or nieces or, cousins or other women in the workplace, whoever that could be, the more that you stop abandoning yourself and you start saying it's okay to deserve certain things, to plant that seed, other women will begin to do that, or other people in your life will say, she's my example, he's my example. I'm going to give myself permission. So if you feel like you're a leader and you want to lead and make change and you want to help other people heal, then it's important to own that. I find a lot of people that are healers, whether it's metaphysical, spiritual, whether it's a nurse or a doctor or whomever that is out there, I find sometimes that they give way too much and they sacrifice so much. And sometimes it's the example that we lead versus giving so much, hoping that they change, which creates our value. And our value doesn't come from other people, our value comes from within. But the way society is set up currently is if we have other people's approval, we must be doing something right. Wouldn't it be great to change that momentum and saying, why do we need other people's approval to be able to be happy? And I know, social media, obviously, I'm part of social media and we look at those things, but it would be great that we can just get our own approval. And when we can start doing that, that's when the alignment starts. So if we look at the spring equinox, it's everything is lined up perfectly for balance, for new beginnings, for rebirth, coming out of the winter, the darkness, come into the light and be able to expand and grow. That's what this time is all about. What if that expansion is all about you expanding and looking at yourself so extremely differently that you can empower not only yourself, but you can be that leader in your community to help people take on that healing to say, I am deserving, I am loved, I am okay the way I am. To find out what your differences are, that is your superpower. To take that superpower and help change the world or change your life or manifest these things, whether it's abundance, balance, joy, partnerships, whatever that looks like for you. So many people I know want to heal from their past and be able to tell their story to make a difference. How are you going to do that? How are you going to talk about your story and change that? We look at how do we motivate ourselves. And I think most of us are not always self-motivated. I have a couple people in my life, including Dana, that are pretty self-motivated. I'm not one of them. So how do we get motivated? And I believe that there are baby steps, there are little things that we can do to begin to transform our life. And I know when I started really transforming my life and completely transformed my life was getting rid of clutter, not color, clutter. And, I learned about space and energy in my home. And it became this passionate thing about looking how energy felt and how my home felt and my space felt and what I wanted to do and how things no longer served me. And I was attached to things that I held on to that I didn't want to hold on to again, that really didn't serve me. Let's put it that way. It no longer served me. But we keep it because we have guilt. Oh, I should keep this because A, B, and C, whatever those reasons are. Over time, that's where I opened up my differences, my superpower. I realized that I was a medium, and I never, ever, ever thought that that was in my wheelhouse. Never did I go, oh, I think I'm a medium. No, it was making these small changes in my life that began to have that snowball effect where that seed was planted. I planted the seed of, getting rid of things that no longer serve me. And we do the same thing with our mind, and we do the same thing with our heart, and we do the same thing with our energy. And that shifts. It begins to shift everything, almost like magic. And I didn't realize at the time how the universe played a role in that. Now I look at it and go, oh, I'm taking advantage of this. This is the time to really take advantage of it. This is coming to my mind right now. It's like the farmer that plants all these seeds and utilizes rain to help, water these seeds versus always having to go out and water. That's what you're doing with the spring equinox. You're using the universe to water your seed, to help it grow, to give it all the power that you need without you doing all the work by yourself. So that's what's really cool is that you're bringing in this energy that's already there and don't waste it. Don't waste the energy. So a lot of my life from probably 2 to about 27, I grew up in Northern California, and water was always an issue. We even put, at that time, we didn't have the technology. We put rocks in our, the toilet area to bring up the water source. I know I wasn't planning on going to this topic, so sorry about that. But it's realizing that we try to put extra energy on our own. We are raised to believe sometimes we have to do all the work to make things happen. We have to do it on our own. You have to work hard to get the benefits. Things don't just happen. You have to, really show up and make it hard. But then I would see other people going, how come they're not working as hard as I am? Why is my life in lack and theirs is not? Now, granted, the people that I was watching had a different lesson. They had a different way of looking at life, and they also had other things that were in lack that I probably didn't have. But the important thing is that we can utilize so many different things to help us with the momentum. And when that momentum gets going, that's when you can sit back and go, this stuff really works. I have a fabulous student, Jacqueline, that goes, this shit works. And it's true. When you start seeing that, the momentum is great. Dana said right now she has someone that has something to share. But when you start seeing the magic, you sit back and go, wow, this stuff works. Yes.
I was just gonna see if you wanted to take a couple of questions.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then I know you're going to share some tools that they can utilize for the spring equinox. And then we have one more thing to talk about. And you're going to do, I know you're going to do an intention setting at the end. Yeah. So stick with us. But a couple of questions. Some of the names aren't popping through, so I apologize. But one of the questions, I'd love to get my booty out of feeling stuck. I've heard such amazing stories about manifesting and have been focused on creating more, but nothing's happening and I feel stagnant. I know it's because of fear or belief holding me back. So any advice helpful in jump starting it all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was just talking about the clutter. The clutter in our mind, if we made a room in our house or a couple rooms in our house with all the things that we think about, we would not want to go in that room. It would be overwhelming, negativity, things like that, like she said about, or he said about your belief system and fear. What room would you want to go in that had nothing but fear? I mean, I think about a haunted house, right? It's fear. You want to, do you want to go in there or not? So I think a big part of it is really being aware of what your fear is. What I hear people say so often, and I've been there, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, or what if this doesn't work, or what if this is worse than where it was before? When I started doing some of the first steps in like feng shui and things like that, my intention was one area, but it ended up different. So I think a lot of it is, and I'm getting this from this person, is we want to control. We want to control exactly how it should look. And we believe that if it looks a particular way, we'll be happy. The universe knows what we signed up for. The universe knows how it can look and what makes us happy. We think we know better. Are we able to trust and let it manifest without trying to control? So if she can or he can tell me what are they trying to control as the outcome, that would be helpful, because I think I want the outcome to be this or nothing.
Another question, is there a difference between what our soul wants versus what our human selves want?
Oh, absolutely. That's the heart and the head, right? So the ego goes, exactly what I just said. I want this to be successful. And your heart goes, yeah, but if you can go into the what ifs and just say, I trust that the universe has my back, that can be a really helpful thing. But what we go into is, I want it to look a particular way, just like the other individual that's on this that just asked. It is that clutter in our mind of fear. If it doesn't happen this way, I don't want to do it. So the universe goes, well, we have a different plan. So we're not going to let it work because you're trying to control an outcome. Why don't you instead let us lead you? I never would have been a medium and gone into this path if I put it out there. That it wasn't like, oh, I want to be a psychic or medium. I just said, I want this to happen. And the universe goes, yeah, right. Okay, we're going to have this. And I trusted it. I'm like, well, I can't buy diapers or milk, so I'm going to have to do this other path that opened up. Are you willing to walk through the door that you were not expecting? Or do you only want to walk through the door that you believe is right? If you think up to this time, what you thought was right to do has not worked, then why aren't you trusting the universe? What if it's better than you ever imagined? What if is the question. Does that make sense?
If you're asking me, my answer is yes. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I was asking whoever out there, like, are they like, yeah, what I find in trying to make these changes, trying to find the motivation, trying to manifest, trying to plant those seeds, we say, I'm going to plant the seed. I want this to grow. What if what grows is completely different? And that's why I was getting the word different. We don't want different. We want this, but our differences is our superpower. Can we lean into that? I think the biggest thing too is being present. I wrote down some things. If you want to step into the arena of your life, you are going to get judged. If you really want to use those superpowers that you came on this planet to do, you're going to be judged. And that's what people fear is, what if I'm judged in a negative way? Most people that really make change are going to be judged, including me. Get judged all the time.
Consistently.
Yeah.
So, so we have a couple of your students who've joined who we could
Yay!
bring one of them on real quick and talk about.
Yeah, because yeah, absolutely. I think part of it is understanding when you start doing this real work, when you really dive into it, what you think you are doing. Like that's how I started. I think I'm gonna do this to create this. It wasn't nothing that I had in the intentions of. It completely went into a different direction. And that's what I think we have to realize is surrender and trust the experiences, but we want to control.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's a student on there. Yes, absolutely.
real quick, I think I bring, how about Miss Amy? Let's see if Amy is there. The reason we're bringing her on is we want to talk a little bit about energy and how she used what she learned in your class, the 30-day energy shift, to springboard herself. And I think that's where she started with you on her journey. As so the other student who's going to come on later, Allie, she did as well, but they used the 30-day energy shift, which we're talking a little bit about energy tonight, to springboard themselves into changing their life and transforming. And I did not prep them, but I have a couple of questions. And so I don't really know what they're going to share, but we trust. So I'm going to bring Amy on.
Very interesting. Yeah. Okay. And she's from Kansas. Hi, Miss Amy.
Hello.
Hello.
So let's do this differently. I can change the screen so everybody can see you, Amy.
Okay.
But, I guess really just maybe start out by telling everybody a little bit about yourself and maybe where you were when you connected with Deb, just really quickly.
Okay. So I live in Kansas. Obviously, Deb is based out of Colorado, and I feel like I can't say this enough that even with the distance, you still feel really connected. So I don't feel like, I live in a different time zone, but I feel more connected to like Deb and classmates and stuff like that than I do people that live 3 blocks away.
Yeah, really.
But that's from, continued classes, obviously, and things like that. So when I found Deb, I feel like that version of myself is probably unrecognizable today, because I think I was in a place of a lot of guilt, shame, and blame. And I definitely, there's things that aren't even on my radar that I would have lost sleep over at that point in time in my life, and sleep for not just like one day. Like I would have been stressed about things for 3 days, and now it's like, oh, that's happening, but you just move through it a lot faster. And I feel like that all started with the 30-day shift.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you've completely changed your life.
For sure. Yeah. Yep.
And transformed it, but you did the work. I didn't. That's the big thing is I don't do the work. You do the work. I just give you tools, and then you utilize them. And
Sure.
And first of all, your sense of humor and your smile is always wonderful to bring to any group. But you found love. You found a new home. You are more at peace. You find joy. I think you've really created balance.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And you were such the giver. You're a healer for your livelihood, right?
Yep.
And so always the giver, always, I remember trying to be perfect.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
What is the one thing that you think has been the most helpful piece? Because, we talk about, the trust, we talk about boundaries, being present, listening, those type of things. Do you think there's one or two things that really helped?
So I feel like probably one of the biggest buy-ins I had 30-day in particular was probably looking for the signs, like recognizing, like seeing different animals and things, because there were situations in my life I had that happened before that class that I was able to go back and say, like I got into a car wreck with a cow, so I like investigated the meaning of like a cow. And I thought, oh my gosh, you can't fake this. Like that absolutely was where I was at in my life. And I needed that message. I didn't know that that's what the message was, but I needed it. And, like there was some video footage of a deer on my driveway a couple months before that class. And I remember thinking that's weird, but I went back and looked at the date and thought, oh my God, you can't fake this stuff. Like that's definitely the message I needed at that time. So I feel like it almost validated what you were teaching us, because I wasn't creating a reason for that to happen. It's not like I was looking for those things. So I feel like that was a big one. But I feel like feng shui, even though it was so confusing, is something that I continue to use even today. I mean, even earlier today, I was like, oh, I've got to clean out that storage room downstairs because that's my rest and relaxation corner. And I need a little bit more of that in my life right now.
One thing I will tell who's ever listening or watching is the difference that I see now than I did then was you trust your intuition, which you didn't then. I mean, there's a lot of fear. I mean, for a lot, including me when I first started on this journey. But what I see now is you get lots of hits, you get lots of validations. You're like, you just trust that intuition. You follow your heart and gut. And it's been really beautiful to watch.
Yep.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah. And just like not sweating the small stuff as much. I mean, just like the amount of time that I don't waste on being stressed out, I feel like I could have a part-time job.
Seriously, yeah. All that energy. Well, thank you for being here, Amy, and sharing with everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Are you going to bring Allie on, or?
How about in a little bit, we'll bring Allie on.
So I think in this process, as you're going through the spring equinox and whether you want to participate in the 30-day shift, which I highly recommend because it's putting value on who you are. And if you don't value yourself, things can't change. And it is about planting that seed of growth and looking at your life in a different perspective, which is what you saw, Amy. Just don't sweat the small stuff. And we sometimes get so worried about what we said or what we didn't do, or we're not doing enough, and all that guilt and shame. And when we talk about energy and vibration, what happens is it lowers how we feel about things and how our energy, we start attracting things that where our vibration is. And what the class is designed to do is help raise that vibration, to help raise your consciousness so you can start attracting and manifesting. So the question earlier was, I'm doing everything, but it's not happening. So what am I, so she said, what am I doing wrong? And basically it's the guilt and shame sometimes that we bring on. It's looking at that you are deserving and that you are valuable, that you are worthy of these things that you're trying to manifest in your life. What I hear so many times is, well, I want to make a lot of money, or I hear people say, I want to win the lottery. And then I go, well, what would you do with the money? And some of the comments are, well, I would help my family. I would give to charity. Right away, they're giving it away. We are taught that we're not deserving enough just to enjoy it. But, giving it away is absolutely fine. But even with compliments, we don't even honor a compliment. We will say, oh, it's an old thing, or thank you, but today I'm not feeling really great. Or we start dismissing those things of worth and value. So we want to be able to shift that by looking at the clutter in our mind. So when Amy was talking about feng shui and shifting energy, that's what this is. It's all about, why do you believe this way? Why are you feeling this way? So how do you raise that vibration? And if you're looking at how energy works. So if you're still trying to put your mind around, how does energy work? Think about what you are attracting. And that is the energy. If you're wanting to attract something that's positive, are you thinking about yourself in a positive way? Are you looking at yourself as saying, I am deserving, I am beautiful, or I am in gratitude? And if we're not saying those things to ourselves, that's the vibration or energy that we're putting out to the universe. And that's hard to do. It's hard for women to be able, especially women, to be able to say, I am deserving. And not because I just put in, 60 hours at work and I took care of my family and I did all these other things. It's because of who you are, and being in gratitude of who you are. And I think the other part is to look at our superpowers. And when we are different, how do we embrace it? How do we build upon it? How do we see its value? And how do we make it big? And when I look at myself as a medium and a psychic, which is sort of my first coming out of the closet and letting people know that I was this way, there was a lot of people that didn't agree, including family and friends that, absolutely not I could not be in their world. It's not always important that you fit into everyone else's world. And it's about, what world do you want to create? What is the energy and vibration that you want to create? Do you want to be part of a community that resonates with you? Or do you want to be always on the outside looking in and not feeling part of something? And your soul, your energy of your soul that you came into this planet with, has a vibration to attract a community or energy for you. It's not somebody else's. It's not the vibration of what it looks like for others. So when I look about my past, never was it in my radar or my wheelhouse that I would be doing this work. But I am so grateful for being able to find it and honoring it and owning it and being okay with who I am versus getting the approval of others. So what Amy was sharing is, she began to understand that she had the power to change her life. She had the ability to shift things. And it wasn't I changed her life. It was that she took the power to change her life. She took the tools that were given in that 30-day shift that began building what she desired. And Amy was awesome before, and now she's got this life where she's so happy. And that's my blessing, is I get to watch her. I get to watch what she does and see her growth and how she takes it on and doesn't feel the weight of the world like she used to feel. And now she's helping other people. It's that ripple effect. She's changing how she's the example to other people. And that's so powerful. And she does help other people. She's a healer as well. And so she does help empower people by seeing things in a different perspective. And that's what the 30-day shift is. That's what the Spring Equinox is all about, is planting something that's unique and different, that resonates with you, that is aligned with who you are, and opening up those doors to be surprised and be curious and, go, wow, this is not what I expected, but it's better than what I expected. Why not? Why don't you deserve to have more than what you expected? And this is where we put the limitations. If only I had this. I think Dana's coming on to bring in their Allie, or someone has a question. Which one?
Well, I was just going to say, I love hearing you talk about energy. Energy is always fascinating, and using the energy of the equinox to bring it all together and to talk about your new course that's coming out. So I don't know, whenever you're ready, let me talk about the course, but I know you still have more to share. So,
well, I definitely want you to share. That gives me a chance to go over my notes. I wrote down over 10 pages today, and I know I've only covered a couple, but you get me started and can't take the mic away from me. But go ahead and talk about the program. So if people are curious about what this 30-day shift is about, and that you can explain, I'll look through my notes and we'll come back and share a little bit more.
So I guess I have to ask, if everybody wants to even hear about this, the 30-day shift, Deb has not done it for a few years. Actually, it's been a few years since she's actually done this course. And so, asking for permission to share this. Thumbs up. I'm hoping. Allie, Amy, give me thumbs up.
Your thumb just went down. So just so you guys know, Dana's little screen does little. Did you see that? The thumb went down.
Let me see. I don't know. It was something a second ago.
That's what it wants to do. But yeah, that's energy. Okay.
So talking about energy and how this all works, energy is an unseen force that has the ability to move mountains. It has the ability to shape land. And so when Deb talks about energy, it's really at the core of all our existence. And so understanding energy and then starting understanding how to shift it is what Deb created this course around. And so when we talk about this, it's talking about it in a way using this course, the 30-day energy shift, to reignite your life and to take it a different direction. It is getting unstuck. So like the person who had joined us a little bit ago, it's really getting unstuck so you're not feeling like life is just happening around you. And the first step is to understanding the energy that you're surrounded with. So understanding the energy in your space, how it looks, diving into the first week with understanding that energy and creating your sacred space so you can feel the energy around you, which is, like Deb said, that's how she understood that she was a medium. That's how she began to feel loved ones coming through, and even understanding what the energy was around her was through this practice. But she breaks it down in such a simple way and makes it a simplified way for you to start changing the energy around you. Understanding your guides, how to connect with your guides. That's a big part of this program for the 4 weeks. How to hear them more clearly, how to recognize signs from the universe, how the universe is communicating with you. That's a big part of this program. And then realigning your energy within. So you're aligning with your energy that's outside of you, but you're also realigning the energy within to feel more supported, more confident with yourself, and to fill your bucket, FILL, to fill your bucket of energy, because we get so depleted so many times that we feel like we're running on empty. And so this program is really centered around how to fill your own bucket, how to understand the energy, and how to really create your own energy. And this type of course that Deb does is unlike the other ones that you might find out there. She is hands-on for the 4 weeks. You actually will have action items each week that you will work on, that you will implement into your life. The 30-day shift does that. She breaks it all down for you. And then each week she's going to have a touch point with you. So you'll be able to get on and do a Q&A where you ask her questions after you watch the classes, which are downloadable. So you'll have a power hour, basically a mastery session with her each week during the course. And those dates are all provided to you. But there's also exclusive meditations that come with the course. And all of that. So connecting with your guides, understanding the messages, understanding all the energy around you. And basically, it's really, this course is everything you need to really springboard yourself, using the equinox as a springboard to springboard yourself into a new energy. And I see lots of comments. I don't know who's talking about it, but the 30-day energy shift changed my life. The 30-day energy shift helped change the energy in my home. I learned so much about, and we did do this during COVID. So the pandemic was really when we launched this initial class. So everybody's saying it was a great class. So thank you, everybody, for chiming in, because we feel this is a life-changing class to start with Deb. It's really a way to understand energy, the way it works, and the power behind it. And with this time of year, it's really kind of a springboard. So Emily, who does all of our courses, helps us with everything. I think she put the link in the comments. That link is in the comments, so you can click on it. You can see what it's all about. So, I mean, I guess the question is do you want to stay where you're at, or do you want to get unstuck? That's the big question. So my vote is join it. And I want to bring Allie in just for a moment too, to kind of chat about that while Deb gathers her thoughts, because she's going to take you through an intention setting here to help you with the equinox starting today, something that you can take with you starting tomorrow and make it action oriented. So let's bring Allie on, because Allie did the same thing as Amy. She started working with Deb through the 30-day shift, and Allie's on. And, I guess Miss Allie, just jump in.
Well, to start, I was a psychic kid who had a medium as a great aunt. And so for me, all of this was very familiar. But fast forward 30 years later, after having raised kids and being married and divorced and being remarried, and it was during the pandemic, I took the class in July, and I also took it in September. So I took it twice. And for me, it was having access to the class. I'm in Northern California. The pandemic provided a medium for which I was able to participate. But 30 years, fast forward 30 years, I felt really stuck. I felt like the rug was pulled out from underneath me. There was a change in my relationship. COVID hit hard in my job. I'm a healthcare provider at a hospital, a manager. And I felt stuck. I really felt stuck. And the 30-day shift provided me with the tools to move forward, like you said, to springboard. And it was actually seeds that were planted. Every week was a seed. And my goal for taking the class was to reignite my intuition and my spirituality. I'd completely lost it, really. And it kind of bummed me out. And so I think the feng shui, I have to say I was a little bit skeptical. But one day I got the feng shui bug, and I spent the entire day moving things around. And listening to my guides were things that really stuck with me, along with learning about energy and the chakras. And what I took from that to this day, from that July 2021 to today, this moment, I will still every morning consider what underwear I put on, what color, so I can either keep my chakra rooted, or if I'm going to go to a meeting and talk, I'll wear blue. I mean, it really stuck with me. And so 3 years later, I am more at peace and more confident, and I really value myself. I really, really value myself. So it was well worth it. And taking the class really planted seeds for a fantastic journey to myself.
I think there's a business of chakra underwear. I don't know. I just heard that. I think there's a business brewing there.
So what would you say to anyone who is maybe considering taking the course and, on the fence? What would you say?
I would say the only way out is through. That's the only way out. And if you really want to invest in yourself, you are going to plant that seed, and you're going to go through the dirt. You're going to go through some muck, but you're going to come out of it this beautiful flower, and probably something that you didn't even expect, that you will be your authentic self. I would just say, just jump off that fence.
Love that, Allie.
Thank you, Allie.
I love and adore you, Miss Allie. So, yeah. When she was talking, can I share a few things?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you had more to share. When she was saying that, including Amy, I'd written down, are you a hostage of your circumstances? And I think what happens so many times, we get into fear and we become hostage. We feel like we're stuck. We can't make any other choices. And the fear, like what Allie was saying too, and both Amy, it came different than they imagined when they took the class. So their intention was this, but it shifted, and that's where we become a hostage. So the vibration is, there's so much fear that we don't even know how to open up to our authentic self. There's that fear. And I wrote down this, which I think is about me. I'm not different to me because I am me. And so what we look at sometimes is we're different because we're looking on the outside versus looking at who we are and honoring who we are. And that's the hostage thing, is that we become stuck because we are not becoming authentic, and we're performing. We're in a performance for the outside world. And when you are able to unravel some of this belief system and find these tools and change the energy, you're like, wow, it is that flower that blooms, that gets out of the muck. And you are going through the muck. You are going through that rebirth. I always say it's a rebirth without the epidural. We're going through this energy to change and shift. But I will tell you, where people start and where they come from or where they end up is beautiful when they are able to really honor who they are and know that they are a vessel to be as amazing of a person that they feel inside that they're afraid to feel. That's for sure. So it's about taking a break from our fear, our old story. When we repeat that old story, that's the vibration. We keep that old story just going. You didn't hear Amy or Allie talk about their old story other than reference. This is where I was, but this is where I am now. And what we do so many times when we get stuck is we repeat our story over and over, unable to break through that to know that we can have something different. And that's the hard part, is to know that you can have something different. And when you feel stuck, you just want someone to lead you. I am more than happy to lead you. I'm more than happy to give you those baby steps and those tools so that you can take those little steps of how do you cultivate the ground? How do how do you clear that foundation? How do you make those changes? How do you trust that you're planting something that's going to grow, that's not, that you're not attached to, but really what you're here to manifest, what you're here to do in your lifetime? What is your purpose? And sometimes it's a little scary because we have this concept of what society thinks or how we were raised versus in our experiences that smother the ability to really truly grow. So I think, honestly, I know this as I've been teaching a long time. Give yourself 30 days. Give yourself 30 days. Honor you. Don't abandon you. Love yourself. See your value. Change your vibration. Change your circumstances. Get unstuck. Pull out those weeds, unless they're really pretty.
Some are.
Really beautiful.
You're going to set the intention?
Yeah, let's set the intention. So what I want to do, I was going to do a meditation, but the music is a challenge right now for us. So we're going to go by doing it this way. If you've never meditated, it's okay. But what we really want to do is create an intention of how you see tomorrow. How do you see the spring equinox? How do you shift your energy and vibration? And how do you trust the direction that you're going? So the first thing I want everyone to do is just take a couple deep breaths, relax those shoulders, move your head around so your neck can, take out any tension. I know that if you've had a long work day or a stressful week, even if it's only Monday, it can really be overwhelming and you're here to go, I want to make change. I want to see what I can do. So take those deep breaths and center your soul, center your body. Feel the top of your spine all the way down to the bottom of your spine where you feel very straight and aligned, but relaxed and supported by the chair or sofa or bed or wherever you're laying, just to take another deep breath. And I want you to think about how your energy feels. And I want you to think about what you can imagine that can change and shift. But I want you to think about the universe and how magical and big and how powerful the universe is. Thinking about, the sun and all the planets and the stars and the moon, and take in all that energy, because the universe has so much energy to provide each of us. And now think about Mother Earth, all of her beauty. Think about all the different continents and places and all the land masses and the water and the oceans and the rivers and the streams and the beauty of her. And how she takes care of us in so many ways. And look at how she's able to grow trees and plants and take care of all the animals and the people all around the world. And how much love she has and how much she's able to process anything that we give her and continue to heal. And feel that love and support. And fill your heart up to know it feels empty, exhausted, that you've given so much and you've forgotten how to receive. To feel the love, to feel the energy from the universe and Mother Earth and your guides and your angels and your loved ones. To fill your body up, to take that energy and fill up all your chakras. Starting with the root with the color red, starting at the spine, the bottom of the spine, all the way down to your feet with the color red. Feeling empowered and strong, knowing that you can take on anything that comes before you, to step into your power, to know that you are capable. Going into the next chakra, which is the sacral below the belly button, the color orange. Embrace your creativity and your passion, your intimacy, sexuality, giving birth and creation, to heal and create balance. Take another deep breath, allowing the energy to continue to fill your body. And going into your solar plexus, the color yellow. And this is above the belly button. And this is all about trust. Putting your hands on your stomach and realizing that you can trust you, that your compass and the direction that is important for you to go is for you. And what others say and feel is not about your compass, but to trust your divine purpose, your divine individual self, to honor who you are, to stand up for you. The next chakra is the color green, and this is your heart chakra. Breathe in what you love, a person, place, or thing, and feel that expand into your heart, going down your lungs and into your arms, that you are loved, that you can embrace who you are and your differences, and that you're magical, you are divine, and that you are part of the soul's plan, this universal plan on this earth. You are to be loved and seen and heard. Embrace that unconditional love for yourself. The next chakra is blue in your throat chakra, so that you can be heard and that you can hear your guides and your loved ones. And that you can remove the suffering that you say to yourself and change and reframe the things you think about yourself. That you can be honoring and hear the positive about who you are and what you've done and where you're going. The color blue is vibrant. It can be emotional, but strong, but kind. To be loving to yourself and those that you meet. The next chakra is between your third eye. It is the color of purple or indigo. And this can expand to the ability to be able to see, to be able to know and dream, to be able to create and manifest and see what you don't see yet, and be able to honor what you've seen in the past, to remove guilt, to remove shame, and raise your vibration, that you can be honoring and loving and know that these past experiences are only lessons, and not to bring them in with fear or guilt or shame, but that you are here to learn, to be able to see these things as different, differently than what you've known them to be or what you were told, and to see a future of love and abundance, to love yourself unconditionally, to not abandon yourself, to see your future as peaceful with joy and create balance, to see your future as happy and joyful and blessed, having a life that you can see that there's nothing but gratitude, and to know that your past and the lessons that you're here to learn can be done out of love. The next chakra is the color white, and this is the connection to the universe. And the universe brings in this color of white and gold that surrounds every part of you, that you are supported, even if you felt abandoned by the universe or by what you believe or those in your life, that the universe has always been there unconditionally. It has never wavered. You may have forgotten that the universe is there or what you believe, to bring that in so that you can have the support to know that you are not alone, but you're part of the collective high vibration of the universe and those that you desire to connect with. That your guides and your loved ones are there so that you can hear them and their messages and see their guidance, so that doors will be opened and paths that you are not to take, doors will be closed. So take a deep breath and allow this energy to complete you, to feel this energy of a higher vibration, that you are deserving, that turmoil and sadness is of your past, and that you can look at these things in a very different light, that you can move forward with a whole new story, that you have the key to unlock your future, that you can step into this in a way that's nothing but magical. Take the next 24 to 48 hours to plant these seeds of nothing but love, and the love you have for yourself and that you are deserving. See these seeds being planted and put a vibration of words, being open to what the universe can do for you, to surrender and trust the process, and to know that you are not alone. Take another deep breath. Extend this energy in your mind as big as you can, to remember you are loved. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I know we've gone over in time, but I had a lot to share. I hope this meditation in its short time has given you some healing. I appreciate both Dana and Allie and Amy for joining us today to share some of their experiences. Please, please take this opportunity, no matter where you are, to take the steps to empower your life, to change your life, to find that you are different, and that's okay, to embrace. I feel so honored that you are all here. Gain, is there anything else that we need to share that I've forgotten, or any things that people have shared that is important for us to make sure we address?
I don't think so. Just namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much. I hope to see all of you really soon. Thank you.